If you guys want to be in with a chance of winning a copy of FIFA 20 on either console of your choice, all you need to do is leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Best of luck and enjoy the video. Hey guys, Eastway here, welcome back to another video, and today I'm bringing you guys another FIFA 20 rating predictions video, this time for Manchester City. This is going to be the first of a few different clubs I'm going to do. Leave comments down below for which club you would like to see next, but as a Manchester City fan myself, I thought I'd start off with City. So hope you guys do enjoy. Let me know what you think of these predictions down below in the comments. And without further ado, let's go on into it. Starting off with the goalkeepers, we've got Claudio Bravo, who I downgraded from a 79 to a 78, simply because he barely played last season down to injury. He didn't even get a game in the cup competitions, but he started off this year quite well with a man of the match display in the Community Shield. We've then got Edison, who I upgraded from an 86 to an 87 because he kept the second most clean sheets in the league last season, was instrumental for City defensively, and actually got 2 assists as well, which is amazing for a goalkeeper, so I think an upgrade would be very much deserved. Now moving on to the fullbacks, the first of which is Alexander Zinchenko. I've upgraded him to a gold. He's previously been a silver in all the other FIFAs he's appeared on, and I think he deserves an upgrade to a gold. It's not going to be an amazing card. He isn't a world-class player by any stretch of the imagination, but he's very consistent and he does a good job. He's a midfielder by trade, but he plays in that left-back position, filling in the absence of Benjamin Mendy, who's been consistently injured, and he's actually on the verge of breaking the record for the longest unbeaten run of any player in Premier League history. He's currently tied with David Silva on 23, but if City don't lose their next game, he will hold the new record, which is pretty impressive. And yeah, quite a consistent player. I don't really think anyone's going to be using him on FIFA. He's not going to have an amazing card, but I think it is a deserved upgrade. We've then got Angelino going from a 77 to a 79. He was the young player of the year last season in the Eredivisie. Got a lot of assists along the way as well. So I think it would be a deserved upgrade, and this card I expect to be very popular in the early stages of FIFA 20. We've then got Benjamin Mendy, who I've downgraded from an 81 to an 80 simply because he barely played last season. However, when he did play, he was very, very good. He got 6 assists in the 8 or 9 games he played in the early stages of last season, but he then missed pretty much the entirety of the rest of the season down to a recurring injury. We've then got Kyle Walker, who I've downgraded from an 84 to an 83. That's still very high rated for a fullback, but I just thought 84 was a little bit too high, given that he was quite inconsistent last season. He had some good games, but he had a lot of poor games, especially defensively. He got caught out quite a lot. So I have downgraded him to an 83, but I think he could also equally quite easily stay as an 84. And then talking about 84 rated fullbacks, we've got João Cancelo. I've upgraded him from an 83 to an 84, and I think that is much deserved. He was very, very good last season for Juventus. He's a very attacking player, and from what I've heard, he was often Juventus' best player going forwards. He got a lot of assists, a fair few goals along the way as well. He played as both a right back and a right mid, so I think the upgrade to an 84 would be much deserved, and it's going to be interesting to see who plays out of him and Walker for City. Obviously, he just joined the club, so he didn't play against West Ham. Walker did. He got an assist. He was very good defensively, so it's going to be interesting to see who gets that starting position, but they're both going to have very, very good cards and will probably be 2 of the most popular fullbacks on FIFA 20. Next up, we've got the centre-backs, the first of which is Iliaquim Mangala, one of the worst players I've ever seen in a City shirt. He's never had a good game for the club, yet for some reason they still gave him a new contract last season despite him having been injured for the past year. I don't know why he's still here, but I've given him a 75 rated card. I think he had like a 77 or a 78 on FIFA 19, but having not played at all, he's going to get downgraded. So that's the card he's got, and I doubt he's going to feature at all next season. We've then got John Stones. I've upgraded him from an 82 to an 83. He was a consistent performer last season, very, very good up until he got injured, then Company replaced him, and he didn't get back in the squad until the end of the season. But it looks like him and Laporte are going to be the go-to centre-back partnership for City throughout the entirety of this season, so I expect he is going to get more game time, be more consistently in the squad, and may even receive an upgrade later on in the game because of that. Then got Otamendi, who I've downgraded from an 86 to an 83. He barely played last season, and when he did, he was quite reckless. He gave away penalties all over the place. Got a lot of bookings and just generally wasn't particularly good. I expect he will feature more this season now the company's left. He is going to be that backup centre-back, so he'll play a lot in the cup games, but I have downgraded him substantially just because he barely played, and an 86 rating is very high for someone who isn't really on the pitch. And then finally we've got Laporte. I've upgraded him from an 84, I believe he had, to an 86. A lot of people think he is the second best defender in the league, behind Virgil van Dijk. And I would agree, he is such a good player. His defensive ability, the way he reads the game, is very, very good. He's not the quickest of players, but very good on the ball. And as I said, very, very good defensively. And scored a fair few goals as well last season. He is a tall player and very dominant in the air. Now moving on to the first batch of midfielders. First up is Bernardo Silva. You can't hate this guy. You just can't. He's probably my favourite player. He's so good, and he had a brilliant individual season last year. He was City's Player of the Year. He was named the Player of the Tournament in the Nations League, which he won with Portugal, and obviously he won the treble with City as well, or the quadruple if you count the Community Shield, which most people don't, including myself. But I've given him an 87 rating overall. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, he's going to be central, a centre mid or a cam, rather than being a winger, because of his lack of pace. It makes him quite unusable on the wing. You need to have like high 80s to 90 pace to be good on the wing, and he just doesn't have that. But he's going to have some really nice stats. His dribbling, it has to be over 90, because I think apart from Messi, he could be the second best dribbler in the world. He's up there for sure. His touch is so silky smooth, the way he moves, so hard to defend against. Such a fun player to watch because of that. He scored a lot of important goals, got a lot of assists as well, and I think going into this season he's going to be even better. Can't wait to see more of him play, and I think an 87 rating is very much deserved. We've then got David Silva, who I've taken down from an 89, I believe is what he had on FIFA 19, to an 88. He's getting on a bit now. This is going to be his final season at Manchester City. He's been there for almost a decade now. One of City's best, if not City's best players ever. The impact he's had has been immense. Last season though, he failed to hit the heights that he has in previous seasons, at least in terms of goal scoring. He scored a lot less goals, but he was still there. In terms of creativity, he created more chances than any other player in the league, I believe, last season. And he was still there, just pulling the strings in the midfield, not necessarily getting as many goals or assists, but he was still very integral to City's success. But because of his age and because of the lesser amount of goals he scored, I have downgraded him to an 88. And then finally we've got Kevin De Bruyne, another player receiving a downgrade, but that's just because he wasn't playing much last season because of injury. So I've brought him down to a 90, which is still very high rated. When he did play, he was unbelievable. He was so good, and when he came back at the end of the season, he really provided that winning spark and mentality which helped push City across the line and eventually win the league. So a 90 rating I think would be deserved. He may keep the 91, but I doubt it, just because to be so high rated you have to have really played throughout the entirety of the season. But I'm sure if he has a season this year anywhere near as good as the ones he's had in the past, he's going to go back up to that 91. And now moving on to the second batch of midfielders, the first of which is Phil Foden. I think he's going to get a low rated gold card, around 75 or 76 overall, and I think that'll be much deserved. He had a high rated silver card on FIFA 19, but he got a lot more game time last year than he did in previous seasons. Well over 1,000 minutes. He scored his first goal for the club and ended the season with I think 5 or 6 in total. He scored in the Premier League against Tottenham, and towards the end of the season especially was getting more and more game time in the league. He also played in the Champions League as well. He even started in the Champions League, so he was really getting on as a player. And he started off this season as well, getting about 20 minutes against West Ham. So I expect this season is going to be a big one for him. He's going to get more and more game time as the likes of David Silva are getting on a little bit in age. And with injuries to key players, you could easily see him getting into the squad as well. Sane is injured, which means Bernardo Silva is less likely to play centrally. And that means he's got a space there where he could potentially step in. It's going to be between him and David Silva, and since Silva is now, I think, 34 years old, I expect to see Foden a lot more in the coming years, and I can't wait to see him develop as a player. Very good fun to watch. Then we've got Ilkay Gundogan. I've given him the 84 rating he had last year. He had a decent season. He was quite consistent. When he played, he got a lot of goals and assists. And yeah, decent season for him. Not bad, so he's not going to get downgraded. Not amazing, so he's not going to get upgraded. And then we've got Rodri, who had a really good season for Atletico. He had an 82 rating on FIFA 19, and that combined with the fact that he made that big move. Typically, that seems to be rewarded by a slight boost in terms of upgrade and stats, especially when you're going to a big league like the Premier League, and a club like Manchester City sort of upgraded him to an 84 overall. He's going to have a nice, well-rounded card, especially defensively, really good stats in that area, and he's also very, very tall, so I expect he's going to be fairly similar to someone like Fabinho was on FIFA 19. He's going to be very popular in the early stages of the game before people can afford the likes of N'Golo Kante and Paul Pogba. And then finally we've got Fernandinho. I've given him the 87 rating that he had on FIFA 19. He was very, very important to City last season. Such an integral part of the squad. In the games he missed against Leicester and Palace, for example, City really suffered, and that's where they dropped a lot of points. When he was playing, they were consistently a lot better, and he just provided that defensive support. And also going forwards, his passing, he just helped the team tick. And I think Rodri is going to step into that role more this season because Fernandinho is now 34 years old, getting right to the end of his career. But still, he's a very, very good player, and I expect he will retain that 87 rating. But ultimately, we've got the wingers, the first of which is Riyad Mahrez. Now, I've downgraded him from an 85 to an 84, but thinking about it now, I think he could easily retain the 85, and he probably deserves to, because not only did he win the treble with City, but he also won the Africa Cup of Nations with Algeria. I believe he was named player of the tournament. He scored some vital goals for them, and he really did carry them through the tournament. And it wasn't the fact that he played badly for City, it was just that people like Sane and Sterling and Bernardo Silva played even better, so he struggled for game time. Early on, he didn't have the best of games, and I think a lot of City fans didn't like him because of the fact that he missed that vital penalty. He just ballooned it over against Liverpool, and it took him a while to kind of earn the City fans' trust back. But I think he managed that, especially towards the end of the season. He scored the goal that effectively secured the title for City against Brighton. It was a nervy game. It was 1-1, I believe, at the time, and he scored an absolute screamer. It was either to make it 2-1 or 3-1, but he scored a really, really nice goal in that game. And he started off the season really well, picking up a hat-trick of assists against West Ham. And with Sane being injured, I expect Sterling's going to play on the left and then Mahrez on the right. Unless Bernardo Silva plays there, but Bernardo Silva will probably play centrally with Sterling on the left and Mahrez on the right. So I expect he'll get a lot more game time this year, and he'll be able to show just how good of a player he is, because he is a very, very good quality player. We all saw what he could do at Leicester, and I think it's going to be a big season for him. So an 84 or an 85, I'm on the fence there. But I think maybe an 85, I'm not sure, but I've given him an 84 here. He's going to have some nice stats and will hopefully retain the 5-star skills that he's had on the past few FIFAs. We've then got Leroy Sané, who at the time of making these graphics and kind of making all the stuff to talk about for this video wasn't actually injured. But now I come to record this video, he's out for about 6 or 7 months apparently with, I believe, a ruptured ACL. Really, really bad injury, something that I believe Mendy had as well. And that put him out for a very long time. So very, very unfortunate news there. Doesn't look like he's going to be featuring much at all this season. There were a lot of rumours about him potentially going to Bayern, but in the end, that fell through. So I've got an 86 rating nailed down here. I think he's going to retain that. It's what he had last year. He had a good season last year. He could even go up to an 87. I'm not entirely sure. But I think with the goals and assists he got, an 86 would be deserved. But yeah, just very unfortunate about the injury, so we're not really going to see him much next season. And then we've got Raheem Sterling, who I've given an 87 rating to overall. It could potentially go up to an 88. I'm not entirely sure. Comment down below. I was thinking maybe an 88 would be a little bit too high. Maybe I'll be being biased. So I gave him the 87 that he got upgraded to on FIFA 19. What I did do, though, is boost up the shooting substantially. It was under 80, and for a player who scores so many goals, that's just too low. So I've given him an 83 shooting. I boosted up the passing as well, and he started off this season in amazing form, scoring a hat-trick against West Ham. Unbelievable performance from him, and I think this is going to be a huge, huge season for him. Same with a lot of players. I think it's now the time for the likes of him, maybe Mahrez as well, Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva, those types of players I think are going to be stepping up and getting on to just higher and higher levels. I can't wait to see it this season. So Sterling, I've given him an 87 rating, but let me know down below. Would you go with an 87 or would you go with an 88? And now finally we've got the strikers, the first of which is Gabriel Jesus. I've given him the 83 rating he had on FIFA 19. I don't think he's done enough to merit an upgrade, but I also don't think he's going to get a downgrade. He didn't play a huge number of games for City last season, but that's just because they only play with one striker. And no matter how good you are, you're going to struggle to start ahead of Aguero, who's obviously one of the best strikers in world football. When he did play day, he was really good. He scored a fair few goals. His goals per minute was up there with Aguero, but obviously he just didn't score as many because he didn't play as many games. He was also an integral part of the Brazil side that won the Copa America. He got a goal and an assist in both the final and semi-final. He also got a red card in the final. And I think this season's going to be a big one for him because Aguero's getting on now. He's not going to play as many games. He's also quite injury prone, so if he does get injured, Jesus is going to have to step up and be that main starting striker. And he started off the season very, very well, scoring City's opener against West Ham. He had another goal disallowed for offside. It was just offside by millimetres, which is quite unfortunate. But yeah, in the end, he got the one goal. But I think he's going to score a fair few this season, especially if he's starting. He could maybe get like 15, 16 in the league. And after that, he'd definitely get an upgrade. And then finally, we've got Sergio Aguero. I've given him a 90 rating, and if there's one upgrade I want out of all of these in this video, it's Aguero. I want him to get a 90 rating. He's never had it on any FIFA, which I think is undeserved. Because if you look at it, you've got Lewandowski, you've got Suarez, you've got Kane. They've all had 90 rated base cards, and Aguero's on their level. On his day, Aguero's arguably the best striker in world football. The issue is he's injury prone, and it's so unfortunate. Like last season, Salah, Mane and Aubameyang shared the golden boot. Aguero's goals per minute was significantly better. It's just that he missed quite a few games with injury. But if he had a full season without injuries, he would consistently be finishing as the top scorer in the league. But he just doesn't get the credit he deserves because of that, because he just always ends up missing a couple of weeks of the season down to injury, and it's pretty disappointing. It's sad to see such a good player have kind of, not necessarily their career ruined by any stretch of the imagination, but brought down. He can't quite achieve his potential because he is consistently injured. But hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm really hoping that this season he doesn't get injured and he just has a full season of scoring goals. And I reckon he could hit the 30 goal mark if that is the case. He obviously got a goal against West Ham, quite a controversial one. He missed the first penalty, and then apparently there was encroachment in the penalty area from Declan Rice, so he retook it and he scored. So he got off to a decent start, but he didn't start the game because he was quite late back because of the Copa America. But yeah, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that he gets a 90 rated card. He's never had it, and I think he deserves it. And it's probably going to be the last year where he would get that, just because he is getting on a fair amount now when it comes to age. I think he's 30 or 31. But there we go. That is going to be the end of the video. Let me know what you think of these ratings down below in the comments. I've tried my best not to be biased. I don't think I have been at all, really. I've downgraded quite a few players. I've given up an upgrade here or there. But overall, I think they're pretty good predictions, and I'm pretty confident that the majority of these are going to be correct by the time FIFA 20 is released. But let me know down below in the comment section what you think of them. Also, let me know what club would you like me to do next. I'm thinking Barcelona and maybe Juventus and maybe Real Madrid. But let me know if there's a club you want me to do predictions for. I will do that, and I'll get plenty of these videos out over the next couple of weeks in the build-up to FIFA 20. I do hope you guys did enjoy. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you're new around here. That will also enter you into the FIFA 20 giveaway, which I'm running. I'll be announcing the winner just before the game is released. And I'll see you guys later. Take care.